I am flabbergasted that I am even recording this video. 6 days ago, I got my uterus removed. And I am so happy. Like, you have no idea. Before I get started, I know that there are plenty of women out there in the world who might think that what I did is an abomination, that are angry because they are having trouble conceiving. In their eyes, might be perceived as throwing away my uterus, throwing away the miracle of life. For those of you who feel that way, just know that what I am about to share is not me taking that for granted. My decision, my journey to becoming a mother will include fostering and adopting. And that is something that I knew that I wanted to do since I was 8 years old. So I hope that you can show me the same kindness and endearment and grace as I give you for your journey. Oh my God. These are like happy tears. I promise. I swear. Today, I am 6 days post-op from having my surgery, and I am feeling amazing. I am feeling... Okay, so I should probably give you some backup. Like, why are these happy tears? Why does this like even make sense? Okay, so when I was 10 years old, I got my first period on my grandmother's birthday, of all days. And my entire life leading up to this hysterectomy, my identity has been surrounded, has involved having awful, like, oh my God, like off the charts, terrible periods. Like there were times that I should have gone to the ER for how bad my periods were. I need to like clear my face here. One of my husband's shirts should do just fine. This is a happy day. Okay. Stay. My whole life leading up into this surgery, I have had awful periods more often than not. My awful period started in middle school, and there were days where I took so much ibuprofen, I was like scared I was going to overdose. There were days that I should have gone to the ER because my period pain was so bad. But I knew that if I went to the ER, they're going to be like, just take some painkillers and you'll be fine. Then there were times that I actually went to the ER and they're like, we can't find anything wrong with you. I have missed out on birthdays. I have missed out on holidays. I have missed out on life because the pain that I experience with my periods is so off the charts that I am not capable of being a functioning person. And I know that there's a lot of people out there just like, well, did you try this? Well, did you try this? Well, did you try that? Yes, yes, and yes. And yes, and yes, and yes. I have done absolutely everything humanly possible for me and my period to be at peace with each other. And it wasn't enough. I started birth control in high school because I was missing so much school because of my period that I was getting delinquency notices, despite the fact that I was an average 3 to 3.5 GPA student. At one point, my high school even said that they would kick me out and put me in continuation school if I continued to miss school because of my periods. And if I didn't get a doctor's note once a month, I was SOL. So that was when I started doing birth control. My mom finally conceded because, you know, birth control is supposed to help with periods. And went down the birth control rabbit hole and went from the monthly pill to the every 3-month pill to the IUD. And it seemed like no matter what birth control I was on, it made my flow lighter, but the pain was still just as bad. And even with the IUD, I know some women are just lucky and fortunate enough that they don't have a period at all. I was not one of those lucky ladies. I not only had a period every single month, I would feel my uterus contracting around the IUD. That's painful. It's not pleasant. It is absolutely just not okay. My brother from another mother came home one day after, and I was catatonically, I don't even know if that's the right word. I was a hot mess. He comes in through the front door and he sees me bawling like a baby, curled up on the floor like a baby. And I am incapable of forming complete sentences. I am incapable of getting up to get painkillers. I am in so much pain. I am on the floor losing my mind because I am in so much pain and there's nothing I can do about it. And here's the thing, is it wasn't like a gradual thing. Most of the time when my period pain takes into effect, it goes from 0 to 60. And by the time I feel the pain to the time that I can get painkillers into my system, I am. And I'd get a couple of nice periods per year. Don't get me wrong. And they were more just like constant reminders that I still had my uterus and I definitely wasn't pregnant. And I was able to take painkillers and more than the average person should take. But they would help. They would take off the edge, but they would not eliminate my pain unless I took a shit ton of them. Which, I don't know about you, but I don't feel like ODing on painkillers. That is not how I wanted to go out in life. So let's fast forward. You know, my really bad period started in middle school. So, you know, that was 13, 14 years old. And then at 28 years old, I started taking CBD because I heard that that was a safer alternative to helping to moderate my pain on my periods. And let me tell you, the first time I took CBD, it was in a pen, and I don't think I had a strong enough dose because the next time when I tried CBD for my periods, I tried the tinctures and I became a believer. I became so much of a believer that I actually started my own CBD company. That is for another different video. I need you to understand that my periods have been so bad that they inhibited me from living the quality of life that is normal. That it would take me, I was stuck at a Target one time and my period kicked in out of nowhere. It was unsafe for me to drive home. I was not able to sit in the driver's seat and drive safely without curling over in pain. Or like, I've tried driving while I'm on my period. It is not a good idea. It is not safe for me and it is not safe for the people around me. I started taking CBD and honestly, it would be safe to say that I would still have my uterus if it wasn't for the ER trip that I took on New Year's Day of 2020. I took 150 milligrams of CBD and 2,000 milligrams of acetaminophen, and my period pain was uncontrollable. Granted, I would also like to add that at that time I was under a tremendous amount of stress that I will not disclose here. It is important to know, though, that my periods are typically worse if I am stressed out. But for this particular instance, for me to go to the ER, considering how bad my period, I've had a cyst rupture on my ovary and I still didn't go into the ER because I knew what it was. I knew I was going to get over it. And there was no point in wasting an ER trip to the doctor to pay a doctor's whatever, when I would be just fine, according to them. So on New Year's Eve / New Year's Day of 2020, January 1st, 2020, I had my friend take me to the ER. Would have had my husband take me, but we were kind of hoping that after 150 milligrams of CBD and 2,000 milligrams of acetaminophen that I would be able to come back and rejoin the New Year's festivities. And well, that didn't happen. So, you know, there was no chance of my husband sobering up enough to take me to the ER. So my friend took me to the ER and I was there for 6 hours. And after all their poking and prodding and scans, and they come to the conclusion that there's nothing wrong with me. And I'm like, respectfully, that is because I am still in pain. Granted, what was really, really cool about me being on CBD when I went to the ER is I had a sense of mental clarity I've never had on a period before. To be mentally capable and to express myself and to Like, talk to the doctor and be like, look, I understand that I'm forming complete sentences here, and it seems like I am calm right now, but I am not. I feel like God is smiting me for my sins and Satan is stabbing me in the uterus. I am off the charts in pain right now. And you want to sit here and tell me that there's nothing wrong with me. That was it. I'm 30 years old. I went to the ER for my period, and they have the audacity to tell me that there is nothing wrong with me. I was done. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was, and I feel like I'm watching my phone, and I'm going to edit out a whole bunch of the ums and ahs spot like that, but I'm like 15 minutes into this, and there's so many other stories that I haven't even shared with you about how much my periods suck, how much my periods have ruined my life. I don't go to work. I mean, granted, like, I work from home, but you know what? I did that on purpose. I wanted to be able to work from home, one, so that way I could support my husband's career while also satisfying my own. But in other ways, I know that I'm doing it so that way I can be comfortable at home. That way I don't have to worry about checking out like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't come into work today because I'm on my period. I've had to do that before. I straight up have had to like, sorry, I can't. Or if I did go to work and the painkillers weren't enough, next thing I knew, I was like under my desk. Like my periods were so bad that I resorted to asking my doctor for a hysterectomy. And it was so strange too, when I went in for the surgery, like I was bawling. Like I laid everything on my doctor and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot live my life where my periods stop me from living. I can't let the source of my pain stop me from missing out on holidays, from birthdays, from having someone over for dinner. Like, I can't let my period rule my life anymore. I don't even want to have biological children. Like, I want to foster and adopt. And I've known that I've always wanted to foster and adopt since I was 8 years old. Like, and that's a whole different story in and of itself. But like, I knew that that was my journey. But I'm sitting here with my doctor and I'm just like pleading. Like, I don't know what else to do. A hysterectomy seems like the only thing that's going to give me my life back. Oh my God, like, I have my life back. And this wonderful, amazing doctor heard what I had to say. And he approved me getting the surgery. And 6 days ago, he gave me my life back. On May 8th of 2020, I went in for surgery to have my hysterectomy, to free me of the source of my agony and pain that has debilitated me for the last 15 years of my life. To Dr. Murphy and the amazing nurses that took care of me after in my recovery from the surgery, thank you. Thank you so much for listening to me, for taking care of me. I truly feel like you have given me the rest of my life to never feel trapped by my body and by my period. You have given me the freedom to be able to leave my house and not feel trapped by my body. You have given me a future where when I do foster and adopt, that they can have their friends come over and spend the night. And I won't have to worry about, oh, hey, my period just kicked in. I'm going to go and like not supervise you or not make you dinner. I'm not going to worry about going to the grocery store with kids in my vehicle and then my period kicks in and not be able to drive them home. I feel like this surgery has given me a future. So thank you. If you're still watching this, I thought that I was going to be like super duper happy, up and down and bouncy as I'm recording this whole video. But Jesus, man, the tears of joy and happiness are off the charts. I don't know if you ever watched like a clip of Kristen Bell on Ellen where she's just like, if I'm like above a 7 or below a 3 on the emotional scale, I'm crying. Like this is where I am at right now. I do want to talk about like my experience going in for the surgery as well. For me, I was definitely not too nervous. I mean, obviously it's a major surgery and it's not as our bodies were intended, but also I'm pretty sure my body was not intended to make me feel like I'm dying every single time on my period or being smited by God for my sins and Satan stabbing me in the uterus. That has been like the best metaphor that I have come up with to illustrate my period pain. And if you're curious if I had like endometriosis or PCOS or some other disease, turns out I did not have endometriosis. That was definitely a theory that my doctors had before going in for the surgery. The lab results are not in, so I have another follow-up appointment next week. But yeah, as of right now, we have no idea why my period pains were so bad. So I had my doctor's appointment with my gynecologist in February. And I was kind of waiting for a phone call to like confirm that I was going to have the surgery. And then April came around and I was just like, I still haven't heard anything. Oh, okay. And then finally I got a bill for the doctor's visit that I had in April. I'm sorry. I got a bill for the doctor's visit to see my gynecologist that I had in February. So I log into my health online and I go to like pay my bill and I see that I have an upcoming pre-op appointment. I was like, wait, what? Like, this is approved? This is like done? No one called me and told me that the hysterectomy was approved by my insurance company? So I follow up and it's like, okay, this is still happening. Now, mind you, I was concerned only a little bit about the surgery being postponed because we're still in the middle of the COVID-19 quarantine. So again, verifying like, okay, is this like actually happening for sure? We're not going to delay the surgery. No, we're good to go. So now some caveats to that. My husband could not come in with me. I could not have any visitors in the hospital. And honestly, I'd be fine. I thought I would be fine. And it turns out I was completely fine. So even though I couldn't have any visitors in the hospital, I was fine. I go to my pre-op appointment on May 1st and we go over, I mean, he printed out like a whole list of things, of side effects that could happen as a result of the surgery. He then proceeds to tell me that he has never killed anyone. So, I mean, granted, he never killed anyone. That's great. It did feel like a little knock on wood kind of situation, but that is important information he needed to share, so it's good to know. Also, millions of women across the world are having babies, are having C-sections, are having hysterectomies. So it's not like between his experience as a doctor and the medicine that is out there that removing my uterus was going to be a majorly risky surgery. And while I am overweight, I don't have any other major health problems. So it didn't feel like this was going to be a high-risk surgery for me. The whole week building up to the surgery, I was just like, okay, I need to file my taxes. I need to get this stuff done around the house. I need to, clean the bed sheets. So that way when I do come home, I won't have to worry about it. So it just, a lot had happened in from between the pre-op appointment and then the surgery date. And then May 8th came and I woke up super duper early and my husband dropped me off at 5 o'clock in the morning. getting my uterus removed, and I'm so excited. And my wonderful, amazing husband is nervous as fuck.
I'm not.
For my surgery, and I just remember laying in the bed waiting for the surgery to take place. And the nurse kept coming in and like checking in on me. And then the anesthesiologist came in and talked to me. And then my doctor came in and talked to me. And the nurse came back in. And she's like, how are you doing? How are you doing? And I'm just like, just waiting. And she's like, you look all too ready for the surgery. I was like, yes. This surgery, I wish that I had back in February when I asked for it. I had a very little concern of waking up from the surgery and regretting it. I had many, many months where I slept on this decision of coming in for the surgery. And just because I want to make sure that I'm honoring myself and acknowledging, like, did I have a doubt? No, I really didn't. Do I think that I will have doubts when I wake up from the surgery? Probably not. But since I am a person that likes to weigh the pros and cons, and I also want to make sure that I honor myself and my feelings and that I'm not lying to myself, I still ask myself that question. Will I regret having this surgery done? No. I can tell you now, I definitely did not regret having that surgery done. And they rolled me into the ER room and they're like, okay, can you please tell everyone in the room before we put you down what we are going to be doing for you today? And I remember saying, I was like, today, you guys are going to remove the source of my agony and pain. You're going to be removing my uterus, my fallopian tubes, most likely my cervix, depending on what you guys find in there, and most likely not remove my ovaries. Again, that will be dependent on what you guys find in there, if I had endometriosis and how bad that was. And they were like, that is one of the more complete descriptions of what we will be doing for you that we have heard from patients in a very long time. So I was like, yes. Afterwards, I was put on the operating table, and then they proceeded to give me a spinal, and that was, kind of scary. It was definitely a certain place that I've donated plasma, I've been poked and prodded already at this point, I've given blood, but no one's ever touched my spine before, so I was a little nervous, and then I very shortly after the spinal, I was out and waking up from the surgery. And I remember waking up in the room that I spent the weekend in after the surgery recovering. I don't remember anything in between. So I woke up and I was like, welcome to my hospital messy hair, and so far I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm so excited. I'm so happy that this is finally done and over with. And honestly, I feel pretty amazing, emotionally speaking. And it was great. And so I had a wonderful team of nurses that I'm in, nurse assistants, and I had a floater nurse. Waking up from the surgery, I was elated that I had it. I was like, okay, if this surgery is, granted, I was still, had the spinal in effect. I still had all of the pain meds in my system. And I still felt the incision on my belly. But I was like, if this is going to be the worst pain that I feel, this is nothing compared to the top 3 worst periods I've ever had. This is doable. I can do this. So I'm up. I'm pretty lucid. And before the end of day 1, I already did 2 walks. around the hospital floor. And they're like, okay, all right, you're doing good. And then the next morning, I'm getting myself up and I'm feeling pretty good. And the nurse assistant actually took me for 3 laps around the hospital floor. And then in the afternoon, I had a very nice male nurse. He tried weaning me off of Norco. Granted, they're not going to leave the hospital if I haven't pooped or farted yet. So that's a thing. Like, I understand why they wanted me to get off of the Norco. But about 36 hours after the surgery, I was Norco free and I was spinal free. And Nurse Dillon also came in to inspect the incision site, and he said that everything was looking great. While the incision looks really, really good, I would like you to wait another day to take a shower because I don't want to introduce any water or bacteria to the area yet. And he also mentioned like one side was healing just a little bit like closer than the other side. And then whatever he put on to like reapply a new bandage on top of it made it really, really cold. So like my incision site was cold, and then my fingers went cold, and then my toes went really, really cold. And granted, my hospital room wasn't cold, so that was like not a thing. I was completely covered. I was wearing socks. And the Norco wore off and the spinal wore off all at the same time. And I went from like 0 to 60 in pain, and I had a massive panic attack. And I'm just like, I didn't want to be overly dramatic. I acknowledged to myself that I'm having a panic attack. And this is not normal Lana. Normal Lana does not have panic attacks. I am fine. I am in a little bit more pain than normal. Not severe period pain, but like I'm in a little bit more period pain than normal. But I'm fine. But at the same time, I was not fine. But I was able to poop. That was the thing. Because I was weaned off of the Norco, I was able to poop. Thank God, because I felt super duper bloated. I felt like my incision was distended. And because I was able to poop, like I felt better. So, it wasn't until this hospital stay that I realized how much nurses talk to their patients about peeing and pooping. And a couple of the, male nurses that I had were actually very attractive. And I was just like, well, I have a husband. I'm not really trying to impress anyone. I don't know that I want to talk to you about peeing and pooping, but like, this is your job. So I'm just going to get over it. And let's talk about poop. Let's talk about how I just need to keep walking around the hospital so that way I can poop. It was a lot of poop talk that I cannot wait to stop talking about. Anywho, so one of the floater nurses came in, gave me some ibuprofen, and that's when I was just like, so yeah, I'm not okay. I'm having a panic attack. This is not normal. Logic Lana is not in control right now. I am emotionally off the deep end. They took me off the Norco. That was probably a really bad idea right now because my pain went from a solid 1.5 to 2 to a 7. And I'm using 7 because it's not as bad as my worst period, because my worst period is my 10. I guess my pain scale should probably be adjusted, but anywho. So they put me back on the Norco. I get a great night's sleep. They check on me throughout the night. So I would get a blood pressure and they had this little thing that they clipped on my finger, and I would take my temperature every single 4 hours. So woken up once in the middle of the night around 3 o'clock in order to take my vitals. And then breakfast brought to me around between 6 and 7 a.m. Man, I have never had someone bring me breakfast in bed before. My husband's cute and all, but food in our bed is I don't know about you, but food in your bed's kind of gross. Breakfast in bed was actually kind of nice. Lunch in bed, dinner in bed. It was actually pretty nice. And the doctor came in on Sunday morning and was just like, so do you think you want to go home today, or do you want to stay another day? And I was just like, I've pooped. I feel great. As long as my husband can pick up my prescription to make sure that I am never without painkillers, yeah, I would actually like to go home and see my husband. And by about noon, 1 o'clock, my husband came and picked me up and brought me home, and it's been great. It's been really nice. I have only been taking Norco at night to go to bed, and then I take my ibuprofen throughout the day. And just because, like, I know that I don't want to be taking Norco all the time. I don't want to be constipated. That's like the biggest issue. If I feel like the ibuprofen isn't enough and I need a little extra something, instead of taking Norco, I'm taking CBD. And I'm doing that because I don't want to be on the Norco. I know that it is addictive, and I can understand why. Having taken Norco, like, that is amazing. But knowing my family history and what my relatives have had experience with addiction, I don't want to be taking Norco. So I feel more comfortable taking ibuprofen and CBD, and hopefully I was kind of toying with only doing straight CBD 1 week after surgery. And honestly, I feel amazing. Like, I feel amazing right now. I feel like I could sweep the house. I feel like I could do dishes. I feel like I can pick up my cat and snuggle my cat. I've been told I'm not allowed to do any of those things. And that's okay, because I want to make sure that I recover, and I'll be able to pick up my cat someday soon, and I'll be able to clean my house normally someday soon. But in order for me to recover as fast as humanly possible, I am working from bed. I have my little laptop stand right there, and I'm sitting on the floor talking to you and recording videos and editing videos. After all this is said and done, having had the surgery, having had awful, off the charts, painful periods my entire life, I can sufficiently say that I feel like this hysterectomy is a blessing, that it has given me my life back. I am recovering well. My husband is tremendously supportive of me and has been a wonderful rock throughout all of this. He definitely has been a bit more like, are you okay? Do you need any help? Being a little bit more helpful than normal. I'm pretty independent, so me being bedridden is not fun for me, I guess. I mean, it is nice that people are willing to help me because they know I need to recover from surgery, but like, me asking for help is not something I know. But hands down, getting this hysterectomy is like one of the top 3 decisions that I have ever made in my life. Marrying my husband was easily the number 1 best decision I have ever made. If you're still watching this, thank you. I mean, I don't know how many people out there are curious about like the emotional roller coaster of getting your uterus removed. I don't know what you're going to get from this. But thank you for allowing me to share my story with you. I am, oh my God, the waterworks are back again. Legit, straight up, hardcore. So happy I did this. And when I look at my life in the future and the quality of life that I'm going to live because I had the surgery, I'm so grateful. I am so happy. And I'm going to leave off on that note because I have my life back. So thanks for watching. And if you also have other questions about how CBD helps with periods, I have another video coming out pretty soon in my series CBD Can, CBD Can't. So I got you covered. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you around next time. My mother-in-law is such a lifesaver. She brought me this little wedged thing so that way I could sleep on an incline. Because getting in and out of bed from being flat to not being flat's really hard. I'm so excited.